Helping people build ambitious and satisfying careers, businesses, and lives. This is the Influence Ecology Podcast. Now, here is your host, John Patterson.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's me, John Patterson, the co-founder and CEO of Influence Ecology, the leading business education in transactional competence. Today's mini-sode is an exclusive preview of the July 2020 Influence Ecology 3D virtual conferences. Through Verbella for virtual events, Influence Ecology now offers a social engagement and communication solution on our private 3D virtual campus. It transforms a real-time campus into an unforgettable, fully immersive experience. Our private virtual campus is designed to promote real social interaction, engagement, and collaboration with speakers, attendees, faculty, sponsors, and campus partners. Today, we hear one of our 40 featured conference experts share how they build potent transactions that produce better outcomes. As we teach it, the principle of personality and transactional behavior allows each of us to exploit our unique perspective. From a combination of their worldview and expertise, each conference speaker will reveal their specialized strategies and tactics that you can apply to your own business or profession. Our 3D virtual campus allows you to meet today's guest, other experts, and participants 24 hours a day from both conferences and in any country. Here's the interview. Paul Adams, welcome to the Influence Ecology Podcast. Great to have you back.
I am so glad to be back here. You guys have been so much value to me, my family, my company. Anytime I'll come back here.
Same back at you. Great to have this kind of reciprocal relationship. Well, let's introduce you to people. Tell us your name, where you live, and what you do.
So I live up in the Seattle area. I own a financial advising firm called Sound Financial Group. We have a podcast, some of the other things that have developed over the last few years. And we have a financial advising firm that takes an approach of education and coaching with our clients rather than kind of the typical financial sales approach that most people experience.
Right. And can you tell us a little bit about your own specialization? Now, I understand what you just said, but what's your specialization? What should people know about your specialized knowledge?
So my specialized knowledge revolves around taking the complex of the financial world and delivering it in bites that are small enough for people to consume and absorb, and then be able to make contrasting comparisons of two different financial strategies at a time to help clients get closer to optimal. We're never perfect in our financial affairs, but the closer we get to optimal, the better. And that's what the work with our clients really revolves around.
Very good. Before I get into your talk, I'm going to ask you a little bit about your talk here for the conference. Anything else we should know about Sound Financial Group?
I think probably one of the most unique is we may be the only financial firm people have ever met with where we do not meet them in person to talk about their money.
Right.
We do 100% of our work over Zoom meetings, and we do that regardless of where our clients are in the country. I think that what that's allowed us to do pretty in this post-COVID world is really come alongside people to help them better understand what's going on out in the financial world without having to worry about coming into our office, driving across town, or any of the things that normally go into that. We didn't plan that going into COVID. That was actually just planned because the lifestyle, both myself and our employees wanted to live where it wouldn't matter where we were when we were working. And it doesn't matter where our clients are either. We just meet them where they are.
Well, speaking about meeting people where they are, we're all in the midst of COVID here at this moment. So you've been invited to do a talk about this particular time but I also invited you to talk because you represent one of the personalities that we teach here at Influence Ecology. So we teach personality and transactional behavior. So first of all, I'll ask, as we teach it, tell us which personality you are and say a little bit about that.
Well, so I'm an inventor personality, and inventors are really good at looking in the future, really good at conceiving of new ideas before anybody else sees them. Not great at looking in the rearview mirror for most inventors, but something that we thrive on as a personality type is certainty. That if we don't know about how something is going to turn out in the future, it will stall us out pretty significantly in the present. So we don't stop most people with our personality type. We, in fact, just create certainty where other people don't see certainty.
It's really well said. So the talk that you're doing is titled what?
Certainty in Uncertain Times. And I think given it's an inventor giving the talk, I might throw out creating uncertainty in uncertain times would also be an apt title.
Well, tell us a little bit about the talk.
Well, so we look at three different major areas where we can experience uncertainty. We can experience it in our business or career. We can experience it on the home and family front. And we can experience it with our own personal financial decisions. And so as we go through this talk, we're going to look at where are those things most showing up for the people in the audience? And what are some real things that you can do after the talk to be able to create additional certainty, career and business, additional certainty on the personal kind of family front, and last but not least, in our finances, in the midst of everything feeling uncertain.
And are there kinds of uncertainties popping up for your clients now with what's going on in the world?
I would say that there are uncertainties that people had before that they were okay in being uncertain about. Like, we don't know what the stock market will be at in any particular year,
right,
let's say. But people are okay with that because they're like, well, I know it's going to be higher in 5 or 10 or 15 years when I need this money. Now, suddenly there's this short-term event that has people say, what's going to happen with the market? And the thing that's been beneficial for us is the amount of time we spend educating our clients. We haven't had to talk very many people off the ledge, if you will.
Yeah.
But that does speak to some of the certainty is like really understanding the decisions before you make them can create certainty or more certainty than everybody else has when whatever breakdown occurs in that strategy, that as soon as you have really thought through that you're certain about the decision ahead of time before you make it, meaning not making a decision just because it checks a box, not making a decision just because it did well in the past, and not making a decision just because you have a great relationship with somebody, but really getting clear about it ahead of time puts you in the best possible position to adjust to any uncertainty along the way.
That's really great. The inventor personality is one of those that seems to bring certainty along, into the transactions in which we're involved. I'm an inventor personality myself. So I've given this analogy a few different times and I'll say it here, but imagine I build a house and I forget the plumbing, right? Big, beautiful house, 2 stories, lots of rooms, whatever, but oops, forgot the plumbing.
Yep.
And many people build transactions, you could say, and they forget some major component like what an inventor brings to a transaction. It's easy for me to see that a performer may bring a whole world of narratives to a transaction, and an inventor brings a whole world of ideas to a transaction. So in your own perspective, if we remove the inventor from any transaction or any environment that houses our own satisfaction, what goes awry?
I think one of the biggest things that can go awry, especially thinking about the other personality types, is that what will definitely get cared for is everybody in the transaction would feel great. And what would get cared for is that all the boxes would get checked. And what we get cared for is we're doing something that's been done well in the past by somebody and we can mimic, or there's some proof in the past that we can do this again. So without that inventor personality, what doesn't get created, mostly is the brand new way something could get done that other people before hadn't done. So an example that would be like what we've done with our firm. It's taken a total of 3 years with iterative adjustments along the way, but we've gone totally virtual. Now, that was all done for one aim that I had, which was a 1-year RV trip with my family starting June 1. Well, that's not happening now. But we were able to reinvent that to be a series of very small trips. And now I needed all the other personalities to get that transaction complete. But if it weren't for that inventor being in the transaction, no one would have said, we need to make these changes to be in this position 3 years from now. We want this to happen. So what I think gets sacrificed is a more encompassing view of the future and how that will care for all of those who are involved, their fundamental cares.
That's really great. I'm reminded of a story that I'll share, which is last year I went to France for a month, and then the year before I went to France for a month. This last year when I got back, co-founder Kirkland Tibbles sat down with me and said, John, I don't know that you know this, but when you leave, it's as if certainty leaves the building. I don't know how to describe it, but suddenly the rest of us have no floor. And I didn't know that I provided that, but I can see that I do. Any comment on that for your own firm or what you experience?
Yeah, I think for those people that are listening that are familiar with the transaction cycle, the inventor sits at the top and can kind of move into the producer realm a bit and move into the judge realm a bit. And I think that one of the best things an inventor brings to the table is a willingness to kind of blow up their own thinking before anybody else has a chance to. We don't like having some kind of lowered identity by being wrong publicly. So we're super self-critical. But what that allows for is very unoften that an inventor who's accomplished in their field gets thrown something that really surprises them because they thought about that breakdown ahead of time. And I think that for a team, and maybe speaking your situation with all those other personality types, aren't looking to the future for both opportunities and breakdowns. Some personalities might just look for the breakdowns. Some might look for the relationships. But what they don't look for in the future is what is going to go wrong with my idea so that I figure out what's wrong with it before I share it with anybody else and have a cure or some amelioration for that breakdown ahead of time if it does happen. That's where the inventor tends to live all the time.
I love that. That's so well said. I can't wait to listen to this again and write that down. That's exactly, it's my experience. It's what keeps me up at night. All the things that might go wrong, could go wrong. Well, what about this? What about that? 5 years out. And yeah, it's really good. Well, as a transition, one of the ways that I pivoted when I started to smell the uncertainty of the future with COVID is we moved to our July conferences onto a virtual platform. And here at Influence Ecology, we've been talking about that for quite some time. Our campus is now live and people are meeting, and we have some big events this week and next and so forth on the campus. For you, going to conference in July, first time ever 3D virtual conference, and you've been to many conferences that have been live. What about this is exciting for you?
Well, probably the most exciting part is I'll be on a family ranch in Wyoming while we do the 3D virtual conference. I was originally scheduled to fly out of Wyoming on our 1-year trip just to make it to mid-year, and then we had plans to get me back. That's how important the conference is to me in a normal year, is we were already planning on that. For me, what I'm most looking forward to is getting a chance to be totally steeped in business narratives and study for the day, and then getting a chance to digest that actually with my family after. So I plan on scheduling time with my wife just to talk about what I got out of the conference. Instead of what normally happens at a conference, I talk with people who experience the same thing after the conference about the conference. So I'm really curious what new is going to show up for me that I get to just be back in pure reflection, not in a brand new location where there isn't as much time to reflect because you're talking with all the people that you're elbow to elbow with in the conference.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait. There's so many different reasons for me for my excitement about the conference, that being one of them. Seeing a bunch of people as avatars. I've been on the campus now for about 2 months, I think,
Mm-hmm.
running into people I never speak to, bumping into them, having chats with them, making plans with them, getting to know them. It's been really fantastic. Well, last thing I want to ask you, we're going to have people who've been around for a long time at the conference. We also are going to have some people who don't know anything about influence ecology. Paul Adams, Sound Financial Group. What might your average person off the street learn from your talk at conference?
I think what folks will learn most, let's take somebody who's not an inventor personality type. I think what they will take away is I have been not using my inventor, whoever their inventor is, maybe a boss, maybe a key employee in a business they own. They've not been using their inventor to their full capacity. And mainly what it's hidden behind is where an inventor has agitated them, is hiding it from them. Because the very things we're super good at can also be amazingly agitating. And then if you are an inventor, I think what you'll get out of this is a better ability to relate to some of the other personality types and put yourself in the position where you can better utilize those personality types while also not frustrating or upsetting those team members by being aware of the emotional wake you leave behind your ship as you move through the water.
That's great. Paul, thank you so very much. Great to have you as a guest on the podcast. We'll see you at conference.
See you then.
During the conference, we'll hear about each topic, why it's important, and how you can apply these strategies and tactics to your own business or profession. In addition to our July 2020 conferences, our campus offers corporate training, educational workshops, and study incubators that include ambitious professionals from many industries, professions, and cultures. We provide social mixers and networking events to help connect with others and their expertise. We allow students, faculty, and mentors the opportunity to connect before and after program sessions to get help, form study groups, and use the campus for discussion. We also offer our advanced students premier program venues that serve their aims for an elite experience amongst peers. We can't wait to see you around campus.